Welcome, race fans, to This Weekend Racing for July 5th, and now for the latest. The driver of the 88, Alex Bowman, got his first NASCAR Cup Series career win last Sunday at Chicagoland, leading 88 laps in the Camping World 400. Bowman navigating through lap traffic in the tail ends of Sunday's race, with second-place driver Kyle Larson chasing him down. But at one point in the third stage, Bowman was putting 3 seconds on Larson's 42 car. It was a good outing for all of the Hendrick Motorsports drivers, all 4 finishing in the top 11. Jimmy Johnson finished 4th on Sunday. William Byron came in 8th. Chase Elliott 11th. Alex Bowman now sits in 9th place in the Monster Energy Cup Series driver standings with 509 points. Bowman taking over Dale Jr.'s car last year. Ahead of NASCAR's Daytona weekend, NASCAR announced changes to the stage lengths for this weekend's Cup Series race. Stages 1 and 2 will be increased by 10 laps. Both stages now 50 laps each. Stage 1 ending at lap 50. Stage 2 ending at lap 100. Stage 3 will be 60 laps, 160 laps in total. Originally, the stage lengths were 40, 40, and 80. Saturday's Cup Series race at Daytona, the Coke Zero with Sugar 400, Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern on NBC. Denny Hamlin, driver of the 11, not happy with the pit road penalty handed to the 11 team in Sunday's Cup race. Hamlin, who came into pit after winning stage 1, the 11 team received a citation from the NASCAR police. The team popped for an uncontrolled tire. In the old days, the uncontrolled tire scenario was only when the tire rolled out of the pit box. Last year, NASCAR changed that rule, saying that a tire must remain within an arm's length of the crew member. And so the tire in question was sitting what looked like right next to the crew member in question. So it looked personally like it was okay, but sometimes the TV angle is different from the viewing angle of the officials. Denny Hamlin chimed in and said, "Ruined our day, and for what? A nickel and dime judgment call? The intent is not why this rule was put into place. Let's go back to using common sense." Chief Racing Development Officer Steve O'Donnell responded by saying, "Well, you can't judge intent if a part breaks or anything in the car. If we had to judge intent really on almost any penalty, we'd be in trouble." Then says that's why we have a rule book, and it's black and white, and we've been through those things. It's in place for safety reasons. We have been consistent on those calls all year. And then says, "We certainly don't want to be in the rules business, but on that case, it's one where we've got to make that call." Denny Hamlin then responded by saying, "If it's a real safety issue, then let's get back the 40 guys we laid off who used to carry those tires in a controlled manner." The uncontrolled tire penalty was one of 3 handed to the 11 team. The second penalty was for too many over the wall later on in the race. And then a post-race inspection. They also failed the post-race inspection as well for unsecured lug nut. Denny Hamlin finished 15th on Sunday. Xfinity Series driver Christopher Bell was disqualified after finishing 3rd in Saturday's Xfinity Series race. Also at Chicagoland, the 20 car failed post-race inspection. The 20 car was sitting too low. This was the same situation that got Ross Chastain disqualified in the Truck Series race at Iowa Speedway 2 weeks ago. Xfinity Series Managing Director Wayne Orton says, "We have a pre-race height and a post-race height rule." After the race, Orton says the front was extremely low and the right rear was a little too high. Christopher Bell did lose points, but is still locked in the playoffs with a season-high 4 wins in the Xfinity Series. And in other news, Christopher Bell this past week, agreed to a 1-year contract extension with Joe Gibbs Racing. Whether Bell will remain in the Xfinity Series or move up to the Cup Series isn't known yet. Some think that Bell may be taking over the 20 car currently driven by Eric Jones. Eric Jones' current contract runs through the end of the season. However, according to a report at motorsport.com, Jones is close to a contract extension himself. So if Christopher Bell does move up to the Cup Series, he may be driving a JGR car or maybe driving for a Toyota affiliated team, or may remain in the Xfinity Series. Currently in the Xfinity Series driver standings, Bell sits in 3rd place with 599 points. All right, and since we're on the topic of penalties, it's time for a penalty report. It's been a while because besides the disqualifications, there hasn't been any penalties to talk about. But here's two right here. The Cup Series, as mentioned, the 11 team again popped. This was for unsecured lug nut. Crew chief Chris Gabehart has been fined $10,000. And the Xfinity Series, 00 team driver Cole Custer, 00 team, also popped for unsecured lug nut. Crew chief Mike Shiflett has been fined $5,000. Thank you, race fans, for tuning in. This is Manny Allegretto for the Motorsports Radio USA podcast, motorsportsradio.net, the home of motorsports talk.